This is Pastor Blake. Thanks for joining me as we walk through core practice 7. That is being a part of the community of the King by committing and caring for one another. We're in Matthew chapter 18 for all of this core practice. And now we're down to verses 5 through 8. And I want to read them to you. Remember, Jesus has told us yesterday, or in session 1, Jesus said, you need to be like a child. You need to come with that perspective of that kind of humility. So what does that look like in a tangible way in a Christian community? Jesus says, and whoever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me. Remember, he brought a child in the midst of them. And so the first expression of being a genuine part of a faith community is to welcome one such child in my name and to recognize Jesus within them. We'll talk a little bit about children and little ones here in a minute, but it's this idea of welcoming. And then verse 6, if anyone causes one of these little ones, now he changes the language from child to little ones, and there's a reason for that, because this is not just limited to children. This is for anyone who kind of falls into that category. Remember, I told you in the first session that a child in Jesus's culture and context was kind of unimpressive. They didn't carry a lot of weight. They didn't really seem like they brought much to the table. And so Jesus is now helping us understand this is not just about children, but anyone who is maybe vulnerable or seems to be expendable. How are we treating them? How we treat the least of these is the best indicator of who we are. So if anyone causes one of these little ones, those who believe in me, to stumble, it would be better for them to have a large millstone hung around their neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea. Clearly, he's saying this is serious business to cause a fellow brother or sister, particularly the vulnerable, to sin. Verse 7, woe to the world because of the things that cause people to stumble. Such things must come. It's going to happen. People are going to be tempted. But woe to the person through whom they come. Verse 8, if your hand or your foot causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it away. It is better for you to enter life maimed or crippled than to have 2 hands or 2 feet and be thrown into eternal fire. So here in these few verses, I'm going to suggest to you there's 2 ways that our humility expresses itself. Number 1 is in welcoming, and number 2, in taking very serious that we do not cause others to stumble. So let me kind of just put that out there in 2 brief statements. So we said the fundamental attitude that we're seeing in all of Matthew 18 is to be humble, to be lowly. And the first way that it expresses itself is to truly welcome the little ones in our community. That could be young or old. It could be female or male. It could be black or white or brown. It's those who do not obviously bring prestige or obvious benefit to us, right? If the chief of police starts coming to our church, we're going to all be impressed and make a big deal about it. If the star football player from JMU is going to come into our church, we're going to be all excited about that and kind of go the extra mile. But what about those who don't seem to just naturally bring something? How do we care about them? Do we truly welcome them? That's more than hello, and that is sacrificially making them feel welcome, maybe putting some of our preferences aside so that they feel most like this is truly a place for them. And then secondly is that we ruthlessly and sacrificially are guarding against causing someone else, a brother or sister, to sin. So that is recognizing that sin is not just my issue, right? Sin has legs. It could be my attitude, it could be my actions, it could be my words, and it's just not about me and Jesus, but it has an impact on others. And I would suggest there may be some things that maybe are even borderline, that aren't specifically sin, but we still maybe need to make choices that we're going to be ruthless about them so we don't cause someone else to stumble. I've just been getting to that time with my 12-year-old son where there's some PG-13 movies that we would like to watch together. I certainly can watch them and it's not an issue for me, but I have to be watching them through the lens of how is this going to impact him. And so in the same way, part of humility, of being part of the of the community of Jesus the King is to be careful that we're not causing others to stumble. May God help us.
Shattered pieces, frayed and torn, a scattered people.